Really excited today to talk to Dr. Bhusri today about digital health and about his practice. So what we want to do today is a lot of the audience may not know who you are, and so I like to always start with a question, a little about your career, your current medical practice, and the type of patients that you're treating today.
Well, thanks for having me at this symposium. So have a solo private practice on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. I opened it in the middle of COVID in 2020, and the reason is I wanted to really adopt my own style of practice, where the doctor, not a provider, but where a doctor is involved in patient's heart care within 360 degrees of their care. That is, it is not fragmented. It is all done, seen, or monitored by myself. And 2020 was an interesting time. It was a great time for younger physicians to take advantage of technology, to see an opening for private practice to kind of penetrate big healthcare, but also to experiment on utilizing, well, at that time, 5G and also the acceleration of digital health, especially as it pertained to the public health emergency and the utilization of insurance, namely CMS, with as it pertained to telehealth and beyond, and we can go into that. And then as a side note, I'm also a it's almost like the hair club for men, right? I'm not only the president, but a I'm also a patient. So I succumbed to fulminant cardiogenic shock in 2015, and my heart stopped twice. I was in a coma. I needed a heart transplant, and did not get one, but it was touch and go for quite a while in the hospital, and it took a good year to recover, and I am still recovering. And that put a lot of things in perspective as a result of being a patient and the need for immediate care, the need for immediate monitoring, and the gaps that I saw within healthcare, especially as it relates to the heart and the fear patients feel. So really, what I created and what I had hoped to create is utilizing the new digital health era in creating a practice that allows availability, it allows ability, and it allows us to generate income while providing exceptional patient care.
That's great, and well, fantastic that you recovered, and part of your personal journey is how you then treat your practice. So that's great. So let's talk about digital tools. I know that's important to you. Just interesting. Our fund created a cardiovascular monitoring company many years ago called Preventus, which was really for AFib monitoring that we ended up selling to Boston Sci. But we had learned a great bit about the need for digital tools in the cardiology space. And I'm just curious, what are kind of the tools that you use as part of your practice, and why they're important to your practice?
Right. So the first thing about the practice was to make everything cloud-based. So we are as paperless as we can be. There's no such thing as a fax machine anymore. And so with the EMR that I decided to utilize, it had an open API system, so I can integrate outside third-party vendors. And one of the first things that I implemented was remote patient monitoring. So that's very, very essential and special with regard to cardiovascular care. In addition to that, home-based cardiac rehab. Home-based cardiac rehab is seldom used in big healthcare because reimbursement isn't there, but now it is being utilized quite a bit, at least in my practice. And as a personal note, I think for me, cardiac rehab was better than any medicine I took to get my heart stronger. And so I have virtual integration with that, along with monthly check-ins from the cardiac rehab vendor that I utilize. And then beyond that, we start using additional digital tools that are emerging, such as AFib monitoring, integration of devices like the Apple Watch, as well as up and coming new uh, coding and digital tools to monitor what's going to start emerging as the hospital at home. And to have a hospital at home and to have a cardiologist that is monitoring that virtually 24/7 is essential. And that's where I really see digital health moving the needle forward.
So just a quick follow on in that realm. How's the patient reaction been to using these types of tools? Because that's always something, adoption is always a little difficult, but we do know patients more want to be treated out of their own home. And I'm just curious in your experience, how the adoption has been so far.
Right. So if we think about my patient population, there's two sides. Well, there are three sides, let's say. There is the elderly population who have been at home and need assistance and want to be able to interact with their doctors. And so there are various modalities in telehealth in remote monitoring that we do have to teach them. And so there's adaptability is very important based on the age, as well as socioeconomic and educational level of the patient. That's the hardest group. The next tier, well, are patients my age. And look, we're a product of the 90s. So we know email. We all have phones. And so it's the adaptability is actually not that bad because the age of the internet was when we were young, and now we're of age where we're getting heart disease. And of course, lastly is the younger generation, which, they're faster than us even. And so, in fact, adaptability is adapting and adopting digital health tools. It's not that hard. It's just understanding your patient base and having various tools available. Now, I'll give you an example for cardiac rehab. We do home-based cardiac rehab. We could do it over the phone. We could do it via Zoom. We could do it in person. We could do it while you're on vacation. We could do it in person. And so the availability of various streams of utilizing digital health, we can take care of the 90-year-old and the 19-year-old.
Great, great. So let's take a little shift away from digital, and let's talk a little bit about the Breakthrough Alliance and HITLAB. You're a global member of BT1. I'm curious, why you joined and kind of what your association with HITLAB is and the Breakthrough Alliance.
So the cardiac rehab, home-based cardiac rehab, I am actually the medical advisor for. It's called Recovery Plus. And it has really taken off. And I think through them, I learned about HITLAB, and really HITLAB is what I piecemeal together to create my practice. And through HITLAB, I'm learning to interface with new technology, new screening studies, also new opportunities. For example, the last HITLAB fall session at Columbia, the Economic Development Council from New York City was there. Wow, what a great community to tap into. And so that's the idea is for me as a practitioner to learn what else can I provide, but also to see where are there services and patients of need that we can actually tap more into. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's all about community and it's about bringing people together. So I'm a big fan of the Breakthrough Alliance and BT1. Let's shift back to digital. I want to talk to this is a bit of a broader question, not maybe so much about your practice, but as you see healthcare broadly, what are some of the sort of challenges and opportunities that you see, healthcare adopting sort of these digital tools? In some instances, in some types of practices, we see high adoption, others we don't. Whether it's from the clinician side or the patient side, I'm just curious, more of a broad view, just your thoughts on some of the opportunities and challenges as digital health is getting more mainstream in healthcare.
Yeah, look, healthcare medicine moves like molasses. And as I'm sure you know, at Merck, it takes about 20 years to adopt a new medicine, even. It takes at least, we always joke, 10 to 20 years for, even though trials and studies have said this medicine will work, takes about 10, 20 years for, or almost a generation of doctors to really adopt that new medicine or new procedure. Um, and so that's a challenge. But I would say that because of COVID and because of the breakdown of the healthcare infrastructure, in order to rebuild it, you have to adopt. If you're not adopting it, it's like in the early 2000s when doctors had to adopt EMRs. They either fell through the hole and had to sell their practice, or they grabbed it and they took off with it. And we're in that shift again, if not even at a broader interval.
Okay. So last question, as you kind of looked at 2024, is there anything specific in digital health that you're excited about for your own practice or even more broadly healthcare? Because one of the things I'm seeing is that it's not that digital is going away. Digital is going to be more integrated into workflow. That's sort of like one of my sort of predictions of where it's going. But just curious if there's anything, really specific to your practice that you're really excited about that's coming, or broadly in healthcare that you see that you go, man, if this happens, this will be great for
Yeah,
2024.
yeah, yeah. So I think the one thing, two things. One is I think adoptability by insurances and the continuation by CMS to reimburse digital health is going to expand once we're starting to see outcomes and rehospitalizations get better. But I also see 2024 as a time of consolidation. Right? There are so many players out there. And now it's time to consolidate, to refine, and then to integrate. Pick and choose the best ones and go from there. Mhm.
Just a quick follow on before we end on because on that whole consolidation piece, because as a venture capitalist, I think to your point,
Mhm.
there's a lot of players and in certain spaces, we do need to build scale and consolidate some of
Right.
those types of assets. Um, who do you think is maybe the players in it, not necessarily the investor side, but do you think that the payer side is also going to play in that realm of consolidation? I think we are as an investor side is going to play a role, but I'm just curious the other parts of healthcare, do you think they're going to play a role in that consolidation piece?
Oh, absolutely. I think every major healthcare system in the country now has an innovation arm, a digital health arm, a chief innovation digital health officer now. Same with insurances. So you look at the behemoth that United and Optum has become, so we're going to see stiff competition. We're going to see stiff competition from every angle: healthcare, hospitals, insurers, venture capital, private companies, and that's where the consolidation is going to come. That's where the competition is come. But that's what we need, right? That's
Okay,
what we need. Yeah.
fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I know we always never have enough time. I really enjoy these conversations. Congratulations on your success and your practice. And with that, Stan, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you.